2, 1, and I believe we are live. Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hello, live.
Hello,
Hello,
live.
everyone.
I'll be putting the stream link for everyone to see. So we're doing third edition of the Suika tier list. Sorry, 12.3 tier list stream. Join us here. Okay. Okay, paste in the stream chat as well.
We still have Wait,
yeah, I know we've got the most powerful thumbnail as our stream.
I thought we were using the sperm punch for D tier.
Oh, it's okay. We can change the thumbnail later, maybe.
What happened to that?
Oh, I thought that was it. Oh, whoops.
Anyway,
Never
okay.
mind.
So, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today in the third edition of the OCE card tier list stream. So today we've got we're trying something a little different to last time. So we've got the tier list pre-made, and we're just gonna run through our reasoning behind it to see if we can get through this quicker. So
Clem, I think that's a big spoiler.
well, we've got it on the screen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sure.
So joining me is Cookie, Stooge, and
Hello.
Jiang.
Hello.
So
I don't think that I will be saying
yeah,
much.
it'll be
because-
mainly Cookie and Stooge.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about Suika.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Suika's a bit of an elusive character in OCE, but
Very, very elusive.
we do have a Suika main now, some duck, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so I guess without any further delay, let's get started. So I guess we'll start with the top rank of this spell card tier list. This tier is called Atlas. It's the S rank equivalent.
Is it called Atlas?
It is called Atlas. The card there is called Atlas, surprisingly.
Wow.
The reason why this card is here is because, well, one, it's Atlas. But I think, you know, anyone who's faced Suika before or used Suika will kind of, you know, not be very surprised by this placement. Atlas is a fully invincible startup. I think it was 13 frame or 12 frame reversal. That's melee, well, it's ungrazable, so, you know, if they're flying or grazing, they'll get hit by it as well. It'll go through all of their attacks to hit them. And it not only that, it does 5,000 damage, which is 50% of your max HP, so it hits absurdly hard to the extent where if you're pressuring a Suika who's holding this, 99% of the time, if she reads your pressure and uses this and hits you, she's gonna deal more damage to you than you could possibly deal to her from, you know, doing successful pressure. So it kind of lopsides the read aspect of pressuring, the advantage-disadvantage. And not only that, of course, it's very easy to combo into as well. And, you know, off pretty much 5A or 2A, it's going to deal a good 4.8k or something huge like that. You know, which is high damage for a 5 cost in combos, honestly. So in combos and pressure, it's incredible. Pressure as in when you're receiving pressure. Probably, you know, there's Veil as an exception, but for a reversal with a hitbox, it's easily the strongest in the game. And on top of that, it works in Typhoon as well, so it's got a bonus use of being incredibly terrifying in Typhoon.
Because you
So-
can't block the
Yeah,
body.
it doesn't just work in Typhoon. It's unblockable in Typhoon.
Yeah, it kills them in Typhoon. So if they're near you, they just detonate horribly. For 5,000 damage. So yeah, I think we've given it more than enough justification.
Just quickly, I just want to check, Clem. Is
Yeah.
Atlas air unblockable?
No, that would be ridiculous.
Anti-Atlas.
Oh my.
Yeah, so the only semi-invincible move that's AUB, I think is Marion's 3 cost. But yeah, luckily it's not the case with anything else.
Broken move if it was air unblockable.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very strong move. I think it, deserves its Atlas tier ranking.
What do you think? How do you think that it compares to the other 5 cards in the game?
Well, let's look at Yomu's Air Goals on Slash of Eternity. Very solid 5 cost. I think everyone agree it's up there. Mainly as a combo card, but it can also be used as like a neutral punish, I guess. In its combo use, Yomu has more confirms that go into it, but the damage is, I think Atlas does more actually, and it's, also pretty easy to combo into. So it's got it fairly matched on that regard. And then on top of that, it's got its reversal use and Typhoon use. So I would say it's arguably, it's better than SOE.
I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's stronger than Yomu's 5 card easily. Because
Yeah. It's it's got it pretty evenly matched in combo use, and that's not even its main use. Then let's look at another really good 5 cost. I guess Exodia. Exodia, low damage but gives you really good Oki. Well, Atlas is huge damage in combos while also giving you a passive bonus of making pressure against you really hard to do, and also incredibly good Typhoon use. So I would argue it's probably the best 5 cost in the game. Does anything
I
else
think
come
that
to mind?
I think that the only thing that Exodia has over Atlas is that it has use in Diamond Dust.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're hard to
And,
compare, but I think just looking at what the outcome to a match that they bring, probably Atlas is higher just because you can hold it, and that threat is going to take you a really long way.
I think that even if you get comboed into Exodia and then you have to block the bolts and wake up, it's still not as scary as
Yeah,
hitting
it's it's scary pressure, but it's like you've still got to weigh out. Well, Atlas, the thing with Atlas is it turns the situation that is your advantage, your pressure on them, into oh no, I might take 5,000 damage. That's more damage than I could ever get from hitting them in my pressure. So it's like a bit lopsided. I think that impact is really big. Hello, Komomo. We've got a Suika dual main joining us in chat.
Clem, I think the other edge that Exodia has over Atlas is that if you're running the game on not Windows, then Exodia will slow the game down immensely.
Weighs both players, so it makes it a worse card overall.
No. You have
But
more
anyway.
time to think into doing whatever you want.
I would, yeah. That's painful use. Anyway. Yeah, so I think that kind of justifies itself. It's definitely incredibly high S tier card through the cast. In terms of 5 costs, I would probably say it's the strongest one I'm aware of. I would argue there's some 4 costs that are stronger than it, funnily enough, but 5 costs, it's probably the best one.
I wonder what 4 card is stronger than Atlas.
I can think of 2. I don't know what you can
Time
think
Bomb.
of. But there's the ticket of promised victory from Yukon
Time
and
Bomb.
Veil. Those 2 come to mind for me. But yeah, so that's Atlas. I guess, let's move on to some of the more maybe controversial placements. So yeah,
like
next
one
is
just below it.
Yep, one just below it. This one's a missing purple power. So this is a slow reversal, so it's not as likely to hit them outright as Atlas. On top of that, its damage is, pretty... You can land an extra hit in if you get the initial hit to land, so it's a, pretty low for 4 cost even then. But the strength of it lies in that once you get the, you use it, Suika stays in this big state for a while, which, while I think if people study it and know how to play around it, it's not that strong, but you might be able to open them up and get a few hits in. But at the very least, you'll be able to keep them pressured as long as they're not. I guess if you play well, you should be able to keep them pressured and do some decent chip damage. And the main reason I put that here is because it's a reversal that, unlike Atlas, is technically safe even if you miss.
I mean, the only
Yep.
I can see when using this card is that if you're on low health, then you only have super armor and you can't block
That's
anything.
right. It has a 30% damage cut, but if you're on low health, you're still gonna
It doesn't
die.
matter anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And if they have a really chunky spell card, it can still do a lot of damage to you. So
Wait,
yeah,
so
it's you can't really use it at low health. It's not gonna be safe, but most of the time it's gonna be, you know, fairly safe. You'll probably deal more damage to them even if they block it than they'll to you during the big state. Well, that's pretty much guaranteed. And once you become small again, you can block immediately or act immediately. So at worst you'll get pressured, and if you did decently during the big state, you'll maybe even be able to get Oki, or at least go back to neutral. So I put it here because it's kind of the... It has a unique use that Atlas doesn't, in that it's a reversal that's safe, while also giving you some interesting mix-ups that, if they're not used to, it can be super effective after it's even blocked. So that's something I think you know, gives it a bit of value over some of the other cards that aren't Atlas. But yeah, you need to be careful because some spell cards can just hit stop lock you for the whole duration, like Exodia.
do you want to mention the fact that the horn?
Oh yeah, and like the mix-ups you get while big are actually pretty interesting. It gives you... she's got an unblockable bullet. She's got a low that hits you outright. Oh no, it crushes you if you're wrong block. A high that hits you outright if you're wrong block. A bullet that does decent chip and spirit damage, and her walk and jump have hitboxes too. And she has an air usable, air unblockable move, the only one in the game. So that's kind of why I put it here. Honestly, I don't think the difference between it and the cards below are really substantial, but we're working with what we've got, right? It's like Atlas and not Atlas, and we're kind of trying to sift through the not Atlas to get something going.
If not for this tier list structure, we'd only have 2 tier lists.
Yeah, we just have Atlas and not Atlas. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I
think,
want to spice it up a bit.
Yeah, everything below Atlas, except for maybe the one at the bottom, is pretty equal overall, I'd say. Okay, so that's Missing Purple Power. Have you guys faced it before? It's not
Yes,
that
I
common.
have.
Yep, okay.
Yes, but
before.
I never got away with it. Like, they always kill me in the big form.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think you need to know what can come, because it's all like 20 frame plus mix-up, so if you're focused, it's reactable. But again, I think...
Does that mean that it's not viable if you just react to everything?
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
react to
just react.
everything, it doesn't have... I'm pretty sure it doesn't have a viable mix-up. It's like you're fighting them with fast charge melees. Then again, you know, it's perfectly reasonable to expect a player to get caught out by something. And you also can, you know, it does decent chip damage anyway, so it's not like even if they block everything, you're gonna go back empty-handed. I think you'll deal like a good 1000 plus damage chip if you play it right, and they can't really do anything about that even if they block everything right. That's all right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on MPP. You can also combo into it off a few things, which is all right. Not sure if it's worth doing though, like Atlas, since the main thing is it's a safe reversal. Above all else, its main value is in that it's a pretty safe reversal, I would say. Okay. Cool. So next is everyone's favorite Massacre. Very kind of iconic card. I feel like a lot of people know about this card from the sheer damage it deals. I think it's 6.4, 5k. And
Yeah.
It's technically a grab, but they can react to the spell fresh and jump, so I'm not going to consider that use as part of its strength. I'm just putting it here because while you're only going to really be able to use it as a whiff punish and a combo card, there's certain combos that go into it. What distinguishes it over Atlas and any of the other cards is that it deals so much damage that if you do manage to land it, it's gonna, you know, be a decisive blow in the match. So I think it's worth running like one just to have it there in case the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of what it does in itself, it doesn't like, you know, it's not a reversal, it's not a pressure card, it's just something to make any kind of neutral miss or any kind of opportunistic combo you get deal a ton of damage.
Would you do it off Perfect Crush?
Yeah, I think that's worth it. I mean, it's still gonna deal like 5k plus, and you have to remember your other options are gonna be dealing lower damage there too.
And since it's a grab, you can't block it, can you?
You can't, but they can see the spell flash and just hold up, and they'll avoid it, guaranteed.
Oh damn. They don't even have to high jump. They just
No,
have to hold
it's
8.
the moment if they hold up, like if they try to jump, they get frame 1 invincibility against grabs, so it won't work.
Oh wow, that's cool. I never knew that.
So it's never gonna work well, unless they're not paying attention. It might work, but I wouldn't rely on it. It's a, you know, heavy investment at 5 cards. You don't want to just miss it, basically.
Yeah.
But does your move 623C avoid it?
Yes. Oh, it should, because it avoids Atlas, right? I suspect it does. But yeah, it's an interesting thought there. But yeah, I think the sheer damage alone makes it kind of a decent option.
But if they chicken it, how punishable is it?
I don't think it's that unsafe. Stooge, do you have the frame wiki there?
I do actually.
What's the total
I'm on the
frames?
wrong page. I have to use the Japanese one apparently because the English one just has spell card description here.
Power. It should be the bottom last card they have.
Yep. So, okay, 600 frames is probably when you land it.
Hold on.
I'll
Actually, I've
send you
got
a
it open.
screenshot,
Hold
you
on.
gotta- Yeah.
I've got it. So.
Is it 83? No, it's way
No,
too long.
that's very long.
53? 53 looks like the active
Suika,
frames.
Spell cards, frame data, spell cards. Okay, it is 10 frames. Startup, interesting, but 43
startup,
frames. 43 frames total. Oh, sorry, 12 frames startup. 43 frames total. So yeah, it's probably punishable as long as they're confident that they avoided it. So yeah, it's not safe if it misses. So it's, you know, combo card with card, make sure you land it, you'll deal big damage. There is a tricky use with it, combining how Suika's backstep can be cancelled into skills or spells. So you can use it as a kind of reversal in corner by backstepping into the corner, then cancelling into this. It's got a 10 frame startup, so it's actually more viable than it sounds. You know, maybe, obviously Atlas is probably better, but if you've got no other choice, it might be a very high return option that you could consider.
What happens if 2 mirror Suikas do it at the same time?
I don't know, actually. Your Suika's completely invincible on the frame that the hitbox comes out, so
That's totally nothing.
they'll just miss each other, yeah.
Right.
Um,
It's disappointing.
interesting thought, but unfortunately it's Suika's invincible on frame 10 to 13, which is like when the hitbox is active. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, it can be used like any Suika spell, I guess, as a kind of
Usable in
reversal.
Typhoon?
Yeah, probably. I think it is.
It does, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It does work
So if
that
they
way,
do something, well, it's like a whiff punish. If they do something silly in Typhoon, you can hit them with it. But yeah, so I would put it here just for the damage alone. So yeah, it's what do you guys think? Do you think that's fair enough? I mean, in terms of what it does, it's unremarkable. It's just the damage is so ridiculously high.
Huge.
Yeah, I've been caught by it a few times. I'm still getting used to it, so I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think it has, the damage kind of sets it apart from like Atlas, going by the theme of Atlas, not Atlas, which is why it's just a cut above the rest. But you know, none of these cards other than the one at the bottom I'd say are bad. It's just that there's very little difference between them, I feel. So
Like we said before, it's either Atlas or not Atlas.
yeah, that's right. So okay, let's move on to the next list. This one's pretty crowded. Decent cards that are hard to run because of Atlas. So starting off at the leftmost end here, we've got the gold chain, the Gaki binding chain, which it's a very unique card that you use it in combos basically. I think you can use it as a kind of snipe in neutral. It's got a bit of bullet invincibility from memory, but anyway, the main use would be in combos. It doesn't do much damage at all, though you can land a few hits after. The main thing is once you land the hit for about, is it 10 seconds? Stooge, maybe you have that information.
It says around 8 seconds, but
Okay.
if they're guard crushed, it continues normally.
Yeah,
So I
so
think if
8
you crush
seconds
them
in
at the right
total.
time-
8 seconds in total, and if you guard crush them, it just continues. Is I think what that means.
Okay,
So
right. Yeah.
It won't stop if they get guard crushed, basically. So 8 seconds of a consistent spirit drain. So even if they escape your pressure, they're gonna end up limping away on 0 orbs after like a second or so because of the drain. So it makes your pressure really, really strong, and also it's good to do like reset pressure during this to maximize the crush potential. So potentially it could do more for you in like pressure than comboing into Atlas, potentially, especially if you consider the spirit damage. But once again, its use is relegated almost completely to combos. That you can use it as a snipe, but it's a bit of a heavy commitment. And you gotta ask yourself, is it worth doing? Are you gonna get more out of this than like 5k damage? You probably will actually, because Atlas is only adding like 2.2k, 2.4k to the combo if you do it in a combo. So it probably will give you more than that overall. But the thing is, it doesn't have that utility of Atlas where just holding it is going to give you huge benefits, and it doesn't have the Typhoon use either. So yeah, it's a
Wait, it doesn't work in Typhoon?
no, it doesn't grab them in Typhoon.
Okay.
So what does
like
it do
Atlas.
instead? Does it just
It
hit
just
them
glances
and then it
them
just
and
falls
does
off?
like 0 damage or whatever it's meant to do.
Uh,
I'm 99% sure it doesn't work in Typhoon. Correct me if I'm wrong, Simon.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. How
Yeah,
about
give
that?
it a try in the background. Anyway, that's the chain. So a very interesting card. It's a bit like Yuko's Poison 2 cost. It opts for something other than direct damage to threaten your opponent, and I guess Udonga's card destroying cards as well. But I feel like it's a good card. It's just that Atlas exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a lot of these, isn't it?
That's a lot of these.
Actually, that's the whole tier.
That's the whole tier, that's right. And yeah, maybe if it was a 3 cost, I feel like it would be worth it, because Suika's got a bit of a 3 cost deficiency. But unfortunately, it's a 4 cost. So that means it's, pretty close to Atlas in cost. And while Atlas exists. So that's why a lot of these cards falter, I think.
Yeah, so I just
Uh,
tried it in Typhoon, the chain, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't
just
work,
hits
that's
them, and then it just pulls the
Yeah,
chain
it
back.
does
And
nothing.
that's
That's right.
There's a combo if you hit the mid air. Do you have any? Do you
I
have any
think
combo?
it does combo of like 3A. Cookie, can you do like 3A into it?
3A into the chain.
Yeah,
Okay, and it's not Typhoon, is it?
not Typhoon. No.
Okay, I just gotta like get the chain on my thing.
Mhm.
There it is. So 3A and then chain, yeah.
Yep, do a slight delay. Like try to get it so they're low enough in the air, kind of.
Yeah, it works. I
It
did
works,
a
okay.
3A and then cancelled right into the chain,
And it
and
worked,
it
okay.
connects. Yes.
So it can
Uh,
hit airborne opponents.
Well, does she have any combo where she can combo into it off like a counter hit jump type A mid air?
Maybe off like a low air falling J5A, but I don't think so, because she doesn't go into grounded moves after that usually, so I feel like it's probably gonna let them air tech before. And you could Atlas in the same situation if that was the case. So,
I have a feeling that a lot of the combo starts on mid air. So-
yeah, that's true. So that's probably a limiting factor for this one, because you're not going to land it off like J6A, which is a big one, or J2A. But yeah, so it gives you interesting resets off it basically, which can help. It's a
Should
good
be
card.
air usable.
yeah, that would be interesting. It's a good card, but it's not Atlas. That's pretty much it. And on the topic of good cards that aren't Atlas, or maybe slightly less good, here's the 4-cost Fire Oni. So I think it's like called Super Dense Fire Oni or something. But
This is the one where Suika just hits the ground and then a fireball just shoots out.
a
And
big one,
bouncing.
and it splits into
Yeah.
medium, normal Fire Oni sized ones, and then little Fire Oni sized ones.
Damn.
So this one, hold on. This one's the only spell string card Suika has. So it brings something to the table that none of her other cards do. You can use it in like a standard spell card, Crush String, Wrong Block into like Bullet into spell card. But the problem is it's a 4 card that, because of the way the Bullet works, it only does 1 orb as part of a spell string. And if it, I think you can combo if it crushes. But
It's like a much weaker version of Ticket.
yeah, it's like a
Guaranteed
much
trade.
weaker Yuk or 2 cost basically in pressure. But it does, like, you know, after the crush it gives you a lot of support with the lingering Fire Onis. But for a 4 cost it's a bit underwhelming in the amount of time it covers the screen, I feel. Like it's pretty high utility. You can throw it out in neutral to kind of gain advantage. You can use it in pressure, even in
So it's like Hollando.
yeah, it's like it's better than Hollander lasts longer, I think. But I would say it's
Hollando
pretty...
lasts for 1 second.
Oh,
One
that's
whole
if they
second.
block it, right? I feel like it's better than Hollander, but it's you know, it's alright. It's just tiny bit underwhelming. You know, there's a lot of cards like that, but they're alright, but it's a bit underwhelming. That's what I feel about this one. But the thing is, like, Suika doesn't have any other spell string cards, so I think that kind of gives it a boost, which is why I would consider it overall good for Suika. Like, you know, it gives a good neutral cover. Maybe she doesn't really need that because her neutral's already pretty strong with cover. Gives her a crush. And apparently in Diamond Dust it gives her a really strong Oki. I saw doing some... He had some interesting YouTube videos I saw a while ago. It was like 5 orb crush Diamond Dust Oki.
You show us that?
I don't think I could find it. But basically
Okay,
the way
not
it
now
works is... The way it works is you position the fireball to split up where they wake up, and therefore all 4 of the Fire Oni sized ones, you know, appear on them at once. So it basically does like 5 orbs on the spot, or 4 orbs, I guess.
That sounds tight.
It's I think you'd need to practice it, but if you get it right on Diamond Dust only, that's why it's... If it was working outside Diamond Dust, it'd be really strong, but it's Diamond Dust only, so...
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, that's a little bonus use for it, I guess. Stooge,
Oh,
what's
like-
the startup for this? Actually, I guess I'm not sure if the
9
information's
frames? Or is it
9
11?
frames?
9? I think it's 9.
Oh, sorry, that's spell flash at 9, and then actual startup's 15. Okay.
So it's like a special stopwatch in Diamond Dust.
yeah, I suppose so. It's minus 22, so you actually get punished if you don't crush with it, which is not good. Okay.
Minus?
Yeah, minus 22. Because
Bullets.
it's not airtight into the second part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they won't get a good punish probably, but they'll still be able to hit you and then like graze away.
Maybe like you need to create like another tier list and then put that down below.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, it's alright. I think it's helped by the fact Suika doesn't have any other crush cards. But, you know, it's a bit mediocre, and Atlas exists as well. So we've got a comment from Komomo saying, you know, they think it's a bit better. But yeah, I think the neutral use is definitely pretty strong, in that you basically take control of neutral when you use it. But you know, it doesn't last very long. Like for example, Yukari's 3 cost is probably better at that, and it's a 3 cost for comparison, the objective border. So it's alright. Which is why it's down here in decent cards. I would say it's probably not as good as the chain personally, which is exactly where we put it. So yeah, okay. Next on the list is Destruction in 3 Steps, I think it's called.
I've never seen this before. What the hell is that?
This one's actually not uncommon. So this one, the thing going for it is that it's a Shock Horror 3 cost. It's not a 5 cost or a 4 cost, so it has a bit of breathing room. You know, it's like, well, what can I run alongside Atlas? It's like, well, you want some low cost cards that aren't going to eat Atlas, right? So I think that makes this card a lot more common than the 4 costs. It's purely a combo card. It's you know, it's 3 melee hits in a row or 3 ungrazable bullets, but they don't do any spirit damage. Yeah, it's the punches.
So it's something you'd use on a confirm, isn't it?
Yep, that's right, a combo card. So it gives you pretty big damage. Surprisingly not that big for Suika, but you know, pretty high 3 cost damage. 3.7k, so comparable to like Master Spark. Of, you know, 2A and 5A basically. Maybe some air moves as well. So it's, you know, considering it's Suika who's already high damage, it doesn't actually add that much, but it is, you know, she's kind of desperately looking for cards to run other than Atlas. And I think because it's low cost and it's fair enough, it, you know, straightforward, it adds damage to your combos pretty reliably. I think it's not an uncommon pick. I would say it's a bit underwhelming considering Suika's already such a heavy hitting character for it to only, the combos with it to only do like 3.6k. But it's, you know, it's pretty common, you see it quite often.
So it doesn't have any use other than doing damage and...
It's not a reversal, it's got no spirit damage, it's punishable on block. Yeah, I think that's it.
Can you do it just to skip with desperately?
Oh, it's got an 11 frame startup. Maybe there's something there for like escape catches, but it's minus 63, so be careful with that.
You won't get punished ever. I
Ever.
think.
63 frames is, you know, cutting it pretty close for the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of there. Like it's like a lot of the cards that come after. It's not that amazing, but it's also pretty low cost, so that's why I put it here. It's actually a surprisingly common card, but that doesn't change the fact that I don't think it actually does much for Suika. But it, you know, it helps and it's reasonably cheap. So if you want a bit of extra damage, it's fair enough.
Clever. Do you realize that the stream also catches you jumping up the tabs as well?
Yeah. I was showing the wiki tab. That's fine.
Yeah, it's just trying to make sure.
Yeah. Thanks for the warning. That's right. Okay. So next in the list is the 2-cost Rock Throw. So the 2-cost Rock Throw is like it's a bit of a utility card. It's 2 costs, which is good. It's very cheap. Good synergy with Suika. The rock itself is ungrazable, which is nice, and it does, I think, 2 orbs on block. Is that right, Suj? Or 1.5?
1?
Oh, 1?
Sorry, trying to use the Japanese wiki. I'm not understanding a lot of
okay.
it because the English wiki hasn't got the data.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
I think you're right. Yeah, 1.5 is right. I think that's what this tab is. Let me quickly. Yeah, it's definitely 1.5.
Okay, 1.5. So I mean, it's ungrazable, so they're probably going to block it in neutral unless they run under you. So make sure you use it from a middling distance. But you might be able to, you know, get a sneaky crush in neutral, where they can't really avoid sometimes. Or another common use is you throw it at them in Typhoon because they can't graze it. It will give you a decent chunk of damage from far away. It's got an invincibility after Suika hops up, so you can use it to kind of avoid some things. Yuko 4-cost ticket is good to avoid with it. You know, it also helps you get out of a pinch sometimes. If you think you've lost neutral, you can throw it at them and go back to neutral. It's alright. It's just that maybe it should be a bit higher. I don't know. It's got some combo use as well.
Would you like to talk about the use in Typhoon?
Yeah, okay. So in Typhoon, it's like Atlas. Surprisingly, you can it's pretty strong in Typhoon because it's aimed at them. Suika throws the rock at them, and it travels pretty quickly. It's pretty big, and they can't graze it.
How would you avoid it?
Well, the thing is, it's just a bit too slow. So if you keep your distance, you can avoid it vertically. and if you're near Suika, you can go under her because she can't throw it behind her. So it's not as strong as it sounds.
Okay.
Can Suika act in the air after she throws it?
I think she has to land.
She has to land? Okay.
I think.
What if she uses Black Hole and that one in Typhoon?
Then maybe it's guaranteed. Oh, but they can still avoid it vertically, but maybe you can pull them close enough. That's a good idea, actually, Zhang. I'm gonna move it up one just for that.
One of its strategies.
I'm gonna move it up past the 4-cost Fireball too, just because it's a 2-cost.
If I ever learn how to play Suika, that's what I would do.
Got the strategies. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's I would say it's alright. It's nice and handy. It's just that they can avoid it with backstep as well. They can avoid it vertically at range, and they can run under Suika at close range. But you know, it's pretty handy for 2 cards. And you can also, it gives you a limit combo if you end up doing the full dial lane mid screen. Not that that's optimal by any means, but it's there as an option. So yeah, that's you know, mostly a utility card, which is low cost enough to justify its use, I think. Also, we've got the Spell Break channel. Hello.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, spell break, or is it Irish?
I think it's I forgot who it's. I don't think Irish runs it anymore. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, we moved that up a bit thanks to the black hole idea. That's actually I think that would make it almost guaranteed. You're right. So yeah, not a bad card. Next in the list is 2-cost Chain. So this one's like, well, you're gonna end up doing a combo that does less than your Fire Oni, you know, optimal mid-screen combo. It lets you reset, I guess, off it with them 1 orb down, but you know, it gives you, I guess you trade a bit of damage to break 1 orb and then get Oki. That's you know,
It's like a crush combo.
yeah, it's like getting a guard crush in the combo. So it's
Should have been air usable.
yeah, that would have been good actually, but unfortunately it's ground only, so you know the confirms into it are fairly limited. While it doesn't have the big impact of the gold chain. It's only 2 cards though, so maybe I think it's got bullet invincibility. Not on frame 1 though, not on frame 1. So
The Cleanser, at least you have a crush, the perfect crush. Your combo is gonna be limited anyway, so why not just use the 2 card?
that's true. If you offer crush, you can end up breaking 2 orbs, which is pretty nice. Or if you use 2, you can break 3 orbs, I guess. But yeah, it's, you know.
3 orbs down I think is pretty severe.
Yeah, but that means it's a 4-cost, right? And not any 4-cost, you have to use 2-cost then 2-cost, so it's pretty limited. So yeah, it's, you know, it's alright, which is why it's not in the tier below, but I think it's a bit of a novelty more than a strong card. I don't know, have any of you guys used it or seen it before? It's pretty rare from experience.
I've
I
only
have-
seen the yellow chain and that's it.
Yeah, yellow chain's a bit
And the
more
yellow one.
strong, I think, so more people would run it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's you know, we're getting to the point of thoroughly mediocre cards at this point. It's fun.
It's like when you're
Yeah.
comparing Remy's Gungnir with Remy's Heartbreak.
Yeah, it's like, well.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's, you know, it's a 2-cost. Let's see what some other like compared to Rock Thread doesn't have that utility and versatility. You can use it as a snipe. I think its startup is pretty fast. Hold on, maybe they'll bring it up a tier. Let me look it up. It's 17 frames. It's not that fast. It's invincible on frame 9 against bullets. Minus 41 on block.
Is it good to
It's not
use it?
bad at
It's just skip the weather.
Yeah, you can use it for weather manipulation, I guess. But at that point, the rock throw is better. So yeah, it's, you know, it's not terrible. I wouldn't say it's good. But if there's any Suika mains you think otherwise, you know, let us know. Like Jiang said, maybe with the rock, there's some surprise use that we can think of. At this point, though, I feel like these cards are pretty closely matched. And the last in this tier is Missing Power.
His big scary face.
It's the the little cousin of Missing Purple Power.
Is it still like comparing Gangnir to Heartbreak?
Very similar outcome. It is a reversal, but it's slower. Its startup is like 20 frames, I think. 20 exactly, yeah, 20 frames. Which in itself isn't terrible. It's bad, but it's not terrible. But the problem lies in the spell flash happens on frame 2. So they can...
Some people can just block it on reaction.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like... Some cards, the spell flash happens really late, so they don't... It's not as easy as to react if you do like a light move that on paper you should be able to block in time. But this one, the spell flash happens right away, so if they do like 4A and they miss, the screen freezes. And they'd be like, oh, okay, time to block. And unlike Missing Purple Power, this one is very punishable on blocks, so... Yeah, it's basically all the good parts of Missing Purple Power are gone. And it's, you know, thoroughly minus 66. So, a bit of a hellish punish going on there.
It's invincible, right?
Yeah, it is frame 1 invincible. 20 frame startup though, so it's not that great. So it's you know, it's alright. If it was even slower, I'd put it in the bottom tier. But it's a alright reversal. It doesn't knock down, I'm pretty sure. A cookie, maybe you can test that out.
So the that reversal, I'll give it a try.
Yep, and set the dummy to air tech. But
So the dummy to air tech, sure thing.
so yeah, it hits decently hard, I think. But you know, I think the other main use is in corner or full dialer. You can limit with it, but there's probably better combos you can do. So yeah, very mediocre card. You know, 2-cast reversals are kind of uncommon actually, so I think it's alright in that sense, but it's unfortunately quite slow, very punishable, and on top of that the spell flash happens too early, so it's very reactable even. So,
Yeah, so I've given the card a try.
Mhm.
It does launch your opponent into the air,
Mhm.
but since it doesn't limit, it allows them to air tech.
Okay, so it is air techable, yeah. I mean, it's a 2-cost reversal. It's like, you might as well run a Spirit Strike instead, right? That's kind of my view. I don't know if I should put it above or below the chain, but I think I'll keep it here for now. I wouldn't run it. It's incredibly punishable, and you know, they can air tech on hit, which is fair enough. It's a 2-cost, but it's just at that point, why run such a, you know, thoroughly mediocre reversal when you can either run a Spirit Strike, which is pretty good and, you know, much harder to bait, or save up for an Atlas, which is the god of all reversals. So it's in a bit of an awkward spot.
Yeah. You could probably avoid train with it or ticket.
Yeah, oh no, it will be. You don't want to avoid ticket with it because you'll get punished.
True. Yeah.
But so Missing Purple Power is much better just because it's you can act immediately after you shrink, and that big state has some advantages as well. So even if it's baited, it's not all that bad. While Missing Power, if it gets baited, it's very bad.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so you know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on it, but I would say it's definitely in the list of decent, lower end of decent cards. So maybe
It's not Atlas.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not Atlas. That's right. And finally on the list, we've got Mythical 1-cost. Bonus points.
I don't even know what this does.
Bonus points to anyone who's seen this in a match. So
I've never seen this. I've given it a try already, and it just releases a mist, and it just makes the mist around them. What even is that for?
So
is it just to make them, you know, blind?
Good shooting.
It has a hitbox, so you can use it as a combo ender. A very low damaging combo ender and an awkward one to use, I think. Or you can use it in pressure where it does like 0.1 orbs and leaves you minus
0.1?
something
Hang
like
on.
that.
That's
Hang on, how does it do damage if it's just mist surrounding them?
No, when she blows it out, it does damage. Put them next to her when you do it.
Oh right, it has to be point blank, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's got a hitbox on startup. That hitbox, you know, it does some damage, multi-hit attack. Can use it as a combo ender, I guess, though I'd imagine it does a lot less damage than whatever other combo you could do. It can be used in pressure, where it's pretty sure it's punishable on block and does like 0.1 or 0.2 orbs. It's -12. Oh, and mid-screen it might be safe against a lot of the cast. So there you go, there's something going for it. Not that I'd recommend running it anyway.
Yeah. I think I know why it didn't work the first time I tried it. I
Too
did it at
close?
point
Yeah,
blank.
it's got a blind
it has a
spot.
blind spot.
I mean, so you're not gonna really get any crushes with it, and even if it, you know.
So what
it's-
does the mist do?
So the
It doesn't
mist.
Sorry, you're saying?
Yep, the mist has no hitbox, but what it does is it basically puts a, I think A density or high B density bullet erasing
it's A.
field. A density bullet erasing field. So it gives you, you know, bullet cover for a while. But the problem is
How long is it?
let me check. The problem is it moves. If it stayed still, that would be pretty nice.
Like Reimu 214.
It
But bigger.
lasts. I'm not sure how much. It doesn't say on this wiki.
Is it 360 frames?
360 frames? Maybe, yeah. So 6 seconds. That sounds about right. I
Hey,
mean,
it sounds pretty good to me.
yeah, you could. It's a decent weather changer. Then again, Tukos Rosk is better. It
Atlas is
protects
better.
Atlas is very better. It's a one cost. I'll give it that. It's maybe there's some potential in it. It will erase any bullet that comes near you. If it was an aura that surrounded you, I think that would be a lot better. But the problem is it moves forwards really slowly along the ground. So it's actually not going to help much in neutral, I think. But who knows, in some matchups it might be pretty good. But then it's only one card, so maybe it belongs here, but I don't know. I haven't seen anyone use it well, so I'm just going with it's probably not worth running.
It doesn't even do one orb either.
Yeah, it does like
on block.
0.2 orbs or something, doesn't it?
It does half an orb though.
Oh, 0.5.
Yeah, it does half an orb. and
Okay.
that's it.
That's better than I thought.
So that means you could maybe use it like
I'm
it's
putting
what-
it here then. It's below missing power, but it's alright.
Yeah, you could use it like UU2 cost the blue ghost, but it will only do like half an orb.
And it's
got a
-12,
blind
so
spot.
if you need to be spaced out if you want it to make something safe.
Yeah, and it's got a blind spot.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a very
It's a tough
underexplored card, I guess, but okay. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt and saying it's possible.
Well, it's
Okay.
borderline.
Yeah, there's our spell card
Now,
list.
now we can see the power of Atlas even more clearly.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Everything
Atlas.
is just everything is bad except for like 3 cards,
Exactly. It's like
and
well,
then 1 card sits at the top.
yeah, it's oh, if it was any other character, I feel like Gold Chain would be really good. The Fire on his spell card would be alright. It's just that like with Suika, you need to ask yourself, why would I run this over Atlas? And when you ask that, it's like, well, I probably wouldn't. And yeah, Suika's got a lot of skills as well that she needs to run, kind of, so that makes it hard to run these cards as well. So not only is she kind of in a tough spot with high cost spell cards that aren't Atlas, but even low cost ones, it's like they might consume her skills, or they might, they'll take a deck slot that could be used for something else. I think people run 4 Brooklyn. I would definitely run 4. 3 maybe, but I don't think anything below that is a good idea. Honestly,
Do
3 is
what
probably a
you
bad
told
idea too.
Do what Stooge told you, 20.
20, yeah, you could run 20 Atlases, that would be ideal. So yeah, that's the spells. Any closing comments from you guys? Obviously, just a caveat, OCE is very not familiar with Suikas. We've never had a dedicated Suika main until very recently.
And there's no more, and Chef is not really here.
Chef played her now and then, but I think
Yeah.
the Duck is the first main we've had, and Komomo is like kind of subbing her / dual main. So yeah, it's we don't have too much experience with Suika. So this is just going off a fairly limited knowledge, but hopefully we got the right idea. Obviously, there's a lot of underexplored cards like that 1 cost, but we think it's pretty decent placement, and obviously Atlas is the best card by far. I think no one's gonna disagree with that. So with
And,
that, yeah.
And if any of you in chat are Suika players, we'd love to hear from you.
Please join
Especially
us,
if
these-
you are from Australia. Let us know.
I meant like anyone who's a
Yeah, just
Suika
feel free to chip in.
anyone not in Australia.
Well, Komoma pointed out that the fireball is probably a bit better than we put it, but yeah, I think I moved it up a tiny bit. Anyway, I would still say it's probably, you know, pretty equal to the top 3 cards in that tier, basically. Alright.
Yeah. Alright.
Hello, I'm a Suika player. Okay, let's move on to
Okay.
the skills then. Here we go.
Alright.
Okay, so we're in a bit of a similar situation. So Suika has a skill called Fire Oni, which is basically almost compulsory. Fire Oni is like
I think, Clever, I think that a lot of people are gonna disagree with that.
maybe. I mean, you know, Fire Oni does it all. It's strong in neutral. It's great, almost compulsory in pressure. It gives her a lot of combos. So I would say that while the other two 623s aren't bad, I think Fire Oni is like very, very clearly a step above them. But if you have any input on the other 623s, let us know, because we'll go over them and I'll tell you my quite limited understanding of them. But with Fire Oni, I do know quite a lot about the spell. A skill, sorry.
What is the optimal combo that you were talking about with Ioni?
In corner, 5A, A, B, Fire Oni.
I think it's better if you show us
Okay.
in the game.
I've hurt my wrists. I don't know if I'll be able to do it quickly, but I'll give it a go.
Take it easy.
Let's try.
We are counting on you.
I'll do my best.
No pressure.
Okay. Just loading it in. So you need level 2 at least, but that's, most Suikas will be running 4, so that's...
What's the difference between 1 and 2?
Oh, right. So another great thing about Fire Oni is that with each level, it gains quite a substantial benefit. That being that Fire Oni at level 1 just shoots the big fireball up, which doesn't really give you... it's decent, but it's missing out on a lot of its strengths, which come at level 2, when it gets these little fireballs that come out when you use it. So here's a level 1, big fireball. Straightforward to use, but it's very straightforward. But at level 2, see these little fireballs that come out? That's really strong, because not only is the initial fireball really strong, but like, let's say in pressure you make them block it, and then the little fireballs come back. So it opens up, more pressure options, because those fireballs come while you're able to act freely, like that. And also it lets you do some combos. For example, there's some massacre combos that work off you getting a guard crush of this, like this. Sorry. This, and then you massacre. So yeah, there's little fireballs that come at level 2, while not... Oh, 5k damage on crush, that's pretty incredible. While not being, vital to the skill, because the big fireball is huge in pressure. That's probably one of the main reasons to run it, and it's a good anti-air. It helps a lot in neutral as well, and in corner pressure especially, it has a lot of benefits. And the nice thing is it doesn't hurt to run 4, not only to get it as soon as possible, but because with every single level it gains substantially. As you can see now, there's 6 little orbs, and at level max, there's... Oh no, okay, sorry, level max is the same as level 3, interesting. So I guess you can use one as fodder without too much worry, which is probably a good thing. But as you can see, very strong in neutral, especially at level 3. It has, I believe it has infinite graze resistance on the big orb. And it's, you can't erase the big orb. The hitbox will go away, it's only got B1 density, so it can erase a few things, but it's likely that some heavier bullets will punch through. But even if they do, the big orb actually stays there without a hitbox, and then erupts into the little ones, which is really strong in neutral, because once you've got it out, it's like, unless you get hit, the little orbs are coming out. So yeah, and the C version actually very potent kind of snipe like this. So if they're in the high air, you can snipe them with this. And on hit, especially counter hit, they can't air tech for like, it's I think a forced knockdown. So you can even combo into like Atlas. I'll show you. So got this, and then Atlas. Oh, I was still out of reach. But you can see from the bar that they couldn't air tech, so you can just do this. So you can, like, off a counter hit in neutral, do like 4.5k, which is pretty scary. So yeah, I think oh, sorry, and back to what we were originally gonna do, the combo, right? 5AA, fire on E, that. Oh, I did it, 3.3k.
Nice, first try.
So
Hooray.
yeah, that's a pretty heavy hitting corner combo, 3.3k. You know, there's obviously some characters who hit harder. I think Utsuho's one does a substantial amount more. Marissa and Tenchi as well, but you know, probably top 5 corner combos, which is nice. It's a lot more damage than the combo she gets otherwise in corner, which is nice. And mid screen you get about 3k as well, which is pretty good for mid screen.
Is that a good knockdown?
There's probably a better one. I actually don't know like a great mid screen. But yeah, it's if you want the easy one, it could look like this. Yeah, I would say like 3k. You probably can get a good knockdown. I haven't told. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't... Like, it helps combos, it really helps pressure, it helps neutral a lot, especially with the little orbs. And, you know, opens up a lot of opportunities if it hits. Overall,
Does she have
really
any
good
limiting mid-screen combo without fire only?
Not limit. She can with distance specific, so like... oh, you need to do... It's, I think, distance specific, but you can do... It's a bit hard, but it's like that. But it's, yeah, point blank you can't do it, so... That's unfortunate. You can get knocked down with this though, but it doesn't hit very hard. So yeah, it's,
I think that just the fact that it enables a mid-screen combo makes fire only pretty potent.
that's a good limit of 2.8k. You can land right next to them. Yeah, a lot of time to hockey. So yeah, that kind of illustrates how important fire only is. Komon was chipping in saying that the mid-screen one was their favorite combo.
They were talking about the corner combo, I think.
The corner combo, okay. Yeah, it's a good combo to know, so... okay, so yeah, that's why fire only is S. I think there's not much debate about that. It's very clearly really good. So yeah, let's look at the next few cards. So it's not as obvious with spells. The gap's a bit more smaller, I think. So we've got some good skills that are good, not fire only skills. So these are actually good and are pretty commonly run. So the first one is... Yep.
KK is just saying that 4 or 5 A's.
Yeah,
That's it.
Suika hits pretty hard. And you know, especially with Atlas, it can be like 3. So, or even 2, depending. So, good not fire only skills. So this is Oni Spirit Bomb. It replaces her default 236. This is a B1 density projectile that's thrown straight at the enemy with good aim. So it's aimed, the arc of aim, like, you know, she will throw it directly at the opponent even if you're quite vertically misaligned, which is really good. It's aimed pretty quick and it's B1, so you can punch through a lot of things. And I think a really interesting thing about it is that once it's thrown, it won't go away, even if Suika gets hit. So if you can use it defensively to kind of trade, like with Suika pillars. And another thing is it helps combos a lot. It gives Suika limits of things that she normally can't limit off. And even mid-combo, if it hits, it has a really long untech time, so it opens up all these high damage routes, which is really nice. So, you know, overall, pretty solid card. Air usable is always nice trade as well. So
Are the
gives you-
charges versions?
the
the
charge,
charge
I think the charge gives you a bit of a defensive mix-up because if they see you about to throw it, they'll keep grazing, right? But you can kind of keep it charging. So I think there's something there, but I think in overall the charge, there's some combos that use the one charge version, which is interesting. But I don't think there's too much use for the charged one. I do know that the higher level you get it, the slower the travel speed of the charged one is. So maybe at higher levels, it's feasible to fly up, throw a charged up, B version, and then follow that. But
Apparently in the C version, it gets faster if charged.
yeah, so I'm not really sure how useful that is because they're gonna see it coming either way. But
Maybe they'll expect a slow
maybe
moving fireball,
maybe.
and then they'll do something and then get
So
hit for
maybe
that.
maybe at higher levels there's something there, but you need a lot of time to get it fully charged as well. I think it actually drains. It's got spirit drain if you charge it fully, which is funny, but probably not that useful. Yeah, so it hits really hard if you can fully charge it, but that's not really what people are going to use it for. The main use is a neutral bullet that's like a better 6B or a second layer of 6B that actually punches through a lot of things. Or 6B
Is it the
just
best
slows.
236?
Yeah, I would say it's the best 236. And air usable is really nice, meaning because it helps a lot of your air combos and lets you snipe in the air with a wider aimed arc than 6B. That's another thing it has over 6B. It doesn't go away when Suika gets hit, which is another thing going for it, especially defensively when you use it air to air. And its combo use is really great too. It gives you easy limits off like J6A, J6A, J6B, J236B, or 236C rather. And it gives you really high damage near corner combos too, so you can combo off the hit, like J6A into Spirit Bomb into like air dash, or fly down J5A, J6A, which is a really interesting combo. So yeah, really good skill, offers something that Fire Oni doesn't, especially with its air use, and I think unquestionably, or maybe there is debate to be had, but her best 236. I'm sure you all have seen this one before, because it's her most common 236.
Oh, Glenfire.
Hmm?
If Sakuya uses the private square in neutral, Suika can just fly up and then stall for time. With
That's
2d6.
true, you can use it to stall because she hovers. It really slows down her momentum when you use it. So that's true. It does have a weird stall use as well. Oh, and it really increases the damage of J8A, which is really nice.
And you can also mix it up with 6 to 3.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I think 623 on block is a lot better though if you're talking about Fire Oni.
No, I'm talking about
Default, yeah, you can mix up melee versus bullet. I guess that's something, yeah. Anyway, it's very handy card to have, very popular. I think it's, not as good as or important as Fire Oni, but very nice to have. I guess next on the list is the White Hole 2-2. So this one is maybe not that common. It replaces a default black hole. So this one fires an uninteractive kind of white hole that stays there for a while and just spews out all these tiny bullets in a fairly wide arc around it. So this one is matchup dependent, I'd say. Well, it's probably going to help in every matchup, but in matchups where Suika has trouble against bullets, it's really nice to have basically a placed bullet that's going to wall off a little area no matter what they do. They won't be able to get rid of it.
It's like a Yomu 5C, isn't that right?
It's like a, similar to Yomu 5C, but longer
But
lasting
it also
and better.
like repulses as well.
No,
It, like,
it doesn't
applies
move them at all.
damage.
It doesn't have any effect on their movement.
Wait, really? I
Yes.
thought White Hole had.
If it
the
did
outlet
repulse them,
bullets.
that would be really strong, but it doesn't. But it's still very strong, I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you can charge it if you get the time. It takes a very long time to charge, but if you can get it out, it covers the area for longer. It has, if you can catch them near it, it's good in combos and pressure as well. Just a handy card to have in neutral, I think, because her 5C is quite low density. So against some opponents, they can, reasonably easily get rid of it. This offers a longer lasting kind of protective little spear that you can throw in front of you or quite far away, and it's gonna bother them for a while. Especially at higher levels when it's charged, it has quite a bit of staying power, which is nice.
It sounds like a better one cost.
Yeah, kind of like a better one cost. And if you don't charge it, it's pretty low committal as well. So that's nice. And if you do get the room, charging it makes it a threatening, lingering bullet. So I like it a lot. I don't know if other Suika mains would really agree, but it's definitely something I like. And since I'm a Sakuya main, I feel quite threatened by it since I can't get rid of it. Yeah, so that's the next one. And finally, on the good skill, I'd say default 236. I'd say it's pretty good, but it's not as good as Spirit Bomb. So this one's a melee punch that has bullet follow-ups. Technically, apparently, you can punish it on block with a forward BE because the follow-up hits are bullets. But that would be pretty hard to do, but it's something to keep in mind. The main use for this is... So even at level 0, it's gonna... A big gap in Suika's pressure, especially if she runs fire on you, is that she's really weak to forward border escapes. So this helps you by providing you with a way to punish that, especially after 2B, or even a forward dash or high jump out. It'll punish something after 2B, I'm pretty sure. So it gives you a melee skill, which is nice. I'm pretty sure it knocks down on hit. It's got some combo potential. But and the C version's air unblockable, but it's really slow, so it's hard to use. So it's decent, and you know, even at level 0, it's pretty decent, which is why I put it up here. But it doesn't offer that utility that Spirit Bomb does, which is why it's lower. But you know, you don't have to run anything for it. Oh, and another strength with Spirit Bomb is that level 1's fine, so you only need to run like 1 or 2 cards. But with this one, if you want to level it up, it gains armor that gets progressively stronger with each level. And it also increases the amount of bullet hits. So I guess on block, if they don't border escape, you end up more plus. But I'd say the main reason to level it up is for the armor, which can be useful. A bit like a reversal, I guess, but not as good, and you know, fairly slow at 20-something frames. But yeah, it's decent, especially because it covers a bit of a flaw in Suika's pressure when using fire on you, and that you don't really need to run it to make use of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like almost everyone. I feel like all of the Suikas that I've played before would run only Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, see.
Of that, and I actually don't understand why, because I feel like having 236 default would make her pressure more threatening to me. But that's because I don't really understand anything.
But I think the thing is, you know, it doesn't catch BE, so its use is actually really similar to 2B. So I think if you're using fire on you, the main mix-up is, you know, you either do it after 2A, 4A and it's not airtight, but if you can also do it after 6A, 3A where fire on is airtight. So the main thing is they're gonna try to 6B out to punish your fire on you, right? So the thing is, you don't need this 236, you can just do 2B. What this 236 offers is that if they block your 2B, then you get a mix-up after that. Without that, your 2B ends your pressure. So, you know, it's actually more limited than it sounds.
2B doesn't do much though, does it?
It knocks down on hit.
Yeah, it's just a knockdown.
Yeah, and this is also just a knockdown. The damage isn't that different. I mean, it hits,
Really?
you know, reasonably harder. But like, you know, it's like, it's good. That's why I put it here. But like, I think the versatility of Spirit Bomb is just much more stronger. The armor is interesting. I haven't really played around with that, so it might offer unique things that Spirit Bomb doesn't. But in pressure, its use is actually extremely limited, I feel. You know. Oh, yeah, actually, it helps your dash A. That might be something. Yeah, it's pretty good. But I think, you know, it ends your pressure either way. And actually, punishable on blocks, so it's worse than 2B. The thing with 2... Yeah. But it's not easily punishable. They have to border escape it, so it's kind of safe. Still, it's good. Yeah, that's, you know, there's probably a lot more to explore for us, especially on the punch. But I'd say it's still not as good as Spirit Bomb. So now let's look at the next tier. Matchup dependent, or has some uses. So these are all cards that, you know, aren't kind of good to run all the time, like the ones above, or their use is a bit more less noticeable than the ones above. So starting off, we've
Yeah.
got the black hole.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised with where we've placed the black hole because I thought the black and white holes would be around the same tier in general, but now that I'm seeing that they're in different tiers, I'm kind of interested in knowing why.
So yeah, it's I actually I feel like it's a bit underexplored, the benefits of the black hole. But you know, it's not as straightforward as the white hole. That's one of the big things. Like they can still do, they're not really restricted from playing neutral by it. They can still move vertically unrestricted. And Suika
Yeah.
doesn't really have the neutral power to, you know, chase them down if they fly up or down. It's, you know, it's good, but I feel like it's hard to use. That's the main thing.
Oh, it's like a Komechi 623 pillar.
2-2 pillar, yeah, it's
Oh,
very
it's a
similar to
2-2
that
pillar.
actually. I would say
But
it's
it's a bit
stronger than the
different.
pillar.
Oh,
Is it
really?
because it's vacuums people into
Yeah, it
it?
vacuums into them, and so Komachi's
Oh,
pillar, they
yeah.
need to be in it. The only difference is Komachi's pillar is stronger on Oki because it lasts. I don't know. It lasts longer. I feel so. It's a bit of a trade-off, but the white hole, especially black hole, especially at higher levels, I feel like is better than Komachi's 2-2 pillar at least. So
Yeah, the other thing I think is important to notice is that there's no acceleration inside Soku aside from gravity.
yeah, that's
So you
true.
can't use so although the black hole is pulling you in, it's not accelerating you towards the black hole, it's just pulling you at a constant velocity. That means you can't do what people do in space and like use the gravitational pull of large masses as like slingshots.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's right.
Oh, were you studying that?
Well, I tried doing it with Oku's son, and it didn't work. You can guess how that went.
Clever. Do you know the things that they said on the wiki about the black hole? It levels up. Level 1 damage increases. Level 2 damage increases. Level 3 damage increases. Level 4 damage increases.
Oh, that's very strange.
Wait, what? The black hole is supposed to do damage, or is it not supposed to do damage? What?
What are you? Wait, where are you reading?
The English wiki, I presume.
And yeah, that must just be a. Yeah, that must just
Why am I
be a
different English
typo.
wiki?
No,
Mine just
no,
says
it's not
duration
just a
increased.
typo. It's like they were entering in the other details of the other cards, and then they were like, "Oh, damage increases, damage increases." They don't even see they're on the black hole, so they just put damage increases on there.
Yeah.
That's the
it
old
just
skill card
gains more
page.
duration. Yeah, there's probably a separate one. I think it gains duration
Yeah.
and suction with each level. Anyway, it's very strong against characters with weak bullets, I think, because you can kind of isolate their threat range with it, and then kind of C-bullet them, or
You know, I've been using this one.
like Yorma's really vulnerable to it, I feel. But in Zekio vs Wakaba, Zekio actually took advantage of it sometimes. He used the additional pull it has to close in really quickly in one situation. So it's a bit of a. I think it's very hard to use, but in some matchups it can be really strong. So that's why I put it at the top of here. Let's speed through the rest. Next is default 623. So I feel like this is a underused card. I actually like it. It's just it's not Fire Oni and it replaces Fire Oni. So this one at level 0 is kind of a melee follow-up, primarily used off like J6A or J2A. It's technically it's safe on block. The pillars are melee as well. I think almost always it will be safe on block, which is nice, especially if they block the pillar. But it doesn't do any spirit damage since you know, I think both are melee, the Suika hit and the pillar. It also adds nice damage to some air combos as the ender, which is cool. But
Good knockdown.
yeah, if it limits, they get launched up into the air, so it gives you a lot of time. I don't think it knocks down normally though, unfortunately. So yeah, good combo ender and air-to-air combos. Good kind of pressure check to stop them from being or grazing your air pressure. But the main thing is at level 2, I think it gains a 13 frame startup hitbox on the way Suika goes up. So that's where it becomes an actual BE catch in corner, which is pretty nice actually. It's the only card like that Suika has. Mid-screen too maybe, depending on how close you are. And it's, you know, safe on block usually, which is nice. At level max in mid-screen it's only -7, so it's completely safe. But otherwise it's, I believe, -13. So distance safe, usually. Yeah, so I think it's, you know, if you want to use it, level 2, that initial hitbox adds a lot. But then again, it's, you know, you kind of lack the crushing ability in your pressure without fire on you. So it's just better outshined by that. But it definitely has its uses as a BE catch at level 2. So that's why I've got it there. And also the air-to-air combo damage is actually pretty nice.
Can you do it for us like a... Does it hit high?
Yeah, I can show you what it looks like.
Yeah, can you do it like an instant air attack that hits high as a mix-up?
No, it's slower in the air. It's the same speed. It's literally the same speed as doing it on the ground and in the air. Because in the air she spins around a lot. So you can't really use it as a mix-up like that. And I don't... Does it even hit high? Let me check.
I think it hits mid.
Oh, it does
Wiki says
hit.
it's
It does hit high, the initial hit.
Oh, the initial hit. Okay.
Yeah, it does one orb. Can you TK 623, Jean?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
But clever. It can get you down onto the ground if you are like very high on the air and have no flight left.
That's true, it can be like emergency landing, I suppose. Yeah, I can see that. And it's safe if they block it, I guess. It's not bad, it's just, you know, fire only is too good. But the main thing is, yeah, yeah, you can cross up with it, I think.
But you wouldn't get much out of it,
Yeah,
right?
you wouldn't get much out of it. But that initial hitbox is the big thing. So, you know, it gives you a threat after like 3A. And it can catch B because it's 13 frames. So yeah, interesting move. I think it's, you know, there might be some you could do pretty well by running it, but it's not fire only once again. Okay.
I think the problem with the move is that it's in the same slot with fire only.
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't, that would be nice, but you know, unfortunately it is.
Because it can catch BE, right? That's
yeah,
pretty
exactly.
cool.
It's pretty strong. So, yeah, unfortunate, but it's alright. That's why I said it's got some use. Next on the list is everyone's favorite 623 apparently on Hisouten, Gnome Thin. So this one, she punches the ground and all these ghosts come out. It's a low, so if they wrong block, that does one orb in itself, and then the ghosts do anywhere between like 1.1 to 1.8 orbs or something like that. So potentially, if you're lucky and they wrong block and the ghosts align, you'll end up doing like 2.8 orbs. But the problem is, on block it's like -11, so you'll need to make sure it crushed. And what makes matters worse is even if it hits, I'm pretty sure they can air tech. And you can't high jump cancel it, so you don't get any follow-up. I think you can...
Wait, you can't high jump cancel it?
No, it's a melee.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
You can't even spell cancel it, apparently.
Oh really? That's not good.
Yeah, the wiki, that's what the wiki says, but the wiki's been wrong about a lot of things so far, so
That's true.
I don't know how much I trust it.
But yeah, anyway, it's not good in terms of the situation post-block, and post-hit situation is probably pretty mediocre. So yeah, it's, you know, a bit...
What if you can perfect crush with it?
Yeah,
combo?
you'd probably, if it's -11, so yeah, you
you
should be able to
combo?
combo off it. But, you know, the ghosts are a bit random in how they disperse, so I don't think that's something you can reliably use.
But the thing is, at least you don't, you know, not drop the combo for perfect crushing.
Right, yeah. That's true. It's not gonna get you punished for perfect crushing. So yeah, it's it's all right. It's quite straightforward, which is probably why a lot of people like it. But I wouldn't say it's particularly good. Oh, it does knock down on hit. There you go. So that's something going for it.
How does it compare to Komachi 623?
Which one? Default?
Default.
Well, they're completely different in use. Komachi's default, they look similar. They both have all these ghosts kind of dispersing. But Komachi's one is like a setup bullet that you set up early in advance, and then you kind of move around alongside. So it's also good for Oki and neutral as like a support bullet. While Suika's this punch in neutral is gonna be like an anti-air basically. You can't move alongside it really, so it's gonna just put out a wall that's gonna make them back off or hit them if they try to hit you. Helped by Suika, I guess, crouching down, which is nice. But yeah, in pressure you might get a crush, which will lead to a small damage knockdown, but a knockdown nevertheless. Decent spirit damage, especially if they wrong block. I think pretty good combo use as well. Let's see. Alright combo use. Fire Oni's better. So yeah, it's alright. I think it's easy to use is the main thing, but I don't personally see it being better than Fire Oni, which is why it's there. And also, I feel like a lot of its use is similar to Fire Oni, but not as good, which is why I put it below the default, which has its unique BE catch use. So yeah,
I guess I have to take your word for it, Clemph. I've never seen it
yeah,
before.
I don't think many people here would have seen it, unfortunately. Next is mini Suikas. They look funny. They have the unique property of having hurt boxes, so they can erase bullets regardless of density.
And I think that in terms of removing bullets on screen, this is the strongest move in the game.
Yeah, this is really strong, especially the B version, because the Suika spread out. I think.
What does it do against like Utsuho's fireball?
I think Utsuo's fireball would kill it because they don't spread out horizontally enough. So it would hit them all at once, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think that means that it doesn't die. I can't be sure though. But at level 1 it becomes air usable, so if you do want to use it, I'd recommend leveling it up to level 1 if you really feel like you need it in a matchup to help erase certain things. I think on block it's actually plus, which is funny, but it doesn't do any... Does it do any spirit damage? I think it does.
Better than Brooklyn just said that look funny is better than being useful.
Oh, it does like one orb. Okay. I mean,
if it looks good, then it is good.
I think it was plus from memory. But anyway, it's, I think the main thing would be in neutral.
Is it good at corner carrying?
No,
Like pushing
let's see. C version maybe. I don't think it's airtight of anything though.
I feel like my knowledge about Suika comes from 7.5, unfortunately.
Oh, it's got hit stop lock, so...
Maybe we can't see it.
Oh, sorry. It's got hit stop lock, so it's not going to push them back at all.
No, by the way, Clemph, if you're trying to show the game
yeah,
screen
I put it on top now. So.
Yeah, put on top.
But yeah, it's probably not that good in pressure. The main use would be in neutral, where it's actually pretty decent cover. But yeah, it's probably very niche for certain matchups where you want them to take hits.
No, I have a feeling that it's lower than Sperm Punch.
Probably, yeah. That's why I put it lower than that.
Yeah, but it's like one tier lower, kind of low.
Well, if you put it one tier lower, then it hits the.
Wait, what? It does a lot of spirit damage.
Yeah, it does decent amount, especially it does like one orb.
But this is Sprinkle.
It does one orb. It does one like. It does 0.8, 0.9 at level 0, which is decent. And it hits stop locks, so they're not gonna beat you. But yeah, it's I think in neutral it's pretty decent in some matchups. That's about it. moving next is a Stomp. I'll
Oh,
not go into much detail for the interest of time, but you can cross up with it if they crouch or if you're in the air. It knocks down on hit.
I
Yay.
feel like very reactable.
Yeah, pretty slow. It's a low that's very reactable. It's safe on block though, which is nice, I guess.
Does it do
Plus,
anything
Yuna's window
else?
is still on top.
It ends up it's minus even on wrong block, so unfortunately not.
So does it do anything else other than,
The cross up.
making fun of people?
You can use it in neutral to suddenly shift momentum to catch like opponents on the ground off guard, I suppose.
I feel like
probably-
I feel like it's a tier below Stun Punch.
Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm not very useful as the new D. Not has minimal uses. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll put that there, and I think it's like this. Just the Stomp I'd put there. Okay, so that's fair enough. I agree, Stomp's not very good in my view. So, okay, that's Stomp. It's basically pure reactable cross-up that hits low. At least it's safe on block, but you're kind of forfeiting pressure for it. It'll only cross up if they're crouching. If they're standing, it won't go over their head. So if they know that, they can use that against you to react. I'm pretty sure they can even just more. It wouldn't catch border escape. I'm pretty sure it won't catch high jump in a lot of places. So yeah, very not good card, I'd say, especially considering the other 2/2/3/6s. The final card in the original matchup dependent has some uses list, which was vacated by the Stomp, is the Mist. So this one's a very interesting card. After a short startup, Suika is completely invincible and can freely move across the screen. Well, she can't attack, but it allows her to basically fly without using any flight. While invincible to any part of the screen, she can go past the opponent in this state. So as an evasive card, I think it's actually really strong. But the problem is the longer you use it for, the longer your vulnerability after you finish is. So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could be higher, but I just haven't seen it being used well enough to make a judgment based on that. But on paper, it should be a really strong evasive card. Because you could use it to avoid air-to-air situations that are bad, or if you think they're coming down on you and you've lost neutral, you just escape with that into the air. It sounds really strong on paper. I don't think it's fast enough to be able to get you out of pressure. Let me just look at the startup. 2 and 4, Mist. It's 13 frame startup. Oh, like level 4, it's 10 frames startup. So
Is it the best 2-1-4?
I would say it's the best 2-1-4 actually, yeah. But then again, I've never seen someone use it, so on paper anyway. I'm gonna move it above the little Suikas. But yeah, it's you know, the more you level it, the faster the startup, and I think the shorter the vulnerability afterwards. And the longer it lasts, I believe. Yeah, you can hold it for longer the higher the level. So it's a decent maneuverability card. And invincible during the whole thing, which is nice, but you're not gonna be able to get into too advantageous of positions with it due to the vulnerability after you finish it, especially after you hold it down for long. So I would say it's purely an escaping card. But yeah, I'd like to see someone use it well. It's definitely an interesting
Maybe
card.
use it to stall for Typhoon or something. To stall for weather.
Yeah, you could stall weathers with it as well. Okay, and Keiki says he will run 4 stomps. That's good luck. So oh, and Frostbite, we did the spell one a moment ago. Massacre Mount Ore is actually pretty decently placed. Okay, so now let's look at the bottom of the bottom tier cards for Suika. So Ignis, I don't know if you're watching this, but your card is not very good, I think.
Sorry,
It's
Ignis.
very.
It's not
It's like a grounds only slow startup, slow traveling 6B that, well, and it homes, but you gotta remember that 6B is aimed at them. So it's like, well, it's like a ground only, slow, heavier investment 6B.
What's the density?
I think B1 per puff.
Yeah,
There's
that's
like
pretty
3
bad.
puffs. Yeah.
Also, Clanfire, you still haven't brought the game to the front, by the way.
Oh no, it's just there in the back because I'm not doing
Okay.
anything with it right
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Clem to bring the game to the front because I want to show you something ironic. If you go to the description of the card, it will say that is generally an all-round good or useful card or something like that,
Is
and
that-
we
is that
put
for-
it down at D tier at the bottom.
Is that the translation, or is it like in the original it also says that?
I've got
in
the
the
English
English
one
translation.
open, so
Yeah, in the English translation, it says it's generally an all-round useful card.
like all
which is
around great
ironic.
skill.
Yeah,
That's what
an
it
all-round great
says.
skill.
Here it is. An all around great skill, fires a fast
irony.
white ball of flame and attracts the enemy. So yeah, I feel like if it feels air usable, it might be like a, although it overlap a bit with Spirit Bomb, but I feel like it would be alright. But unfortunately, being ground only, it's very limited in its use. In pressure as well, it's not that useful, I think. So yeah, very mediocre.
I haven't even seen like a combo movie that uses this.
Yeah, I've
move.
never seen it in a game, that's right. Or even a combo movie, so it's, yeah, not that good. I think it has long hit stop, so it's something, I guess, maybe. Question mark potential.
Okay, I have a better thumbnail for this video.
And then last and maybe least question mark is the grab. So this one's a unblockable that kind of slams him to the ground if it connects. A pretty slow startup, starts at 30 something frames and level max is 28 frames. The problem is you need to be very close to them for it to hit. And while Suika has a black hole around her that sucks them towards you to make it hit, the distance between you and her means the startup is just that much longer. So you can quite easily jump out on reaction if there's any distance at all. You know, even at point blank, it's probably reactable if you're paying attention. So,
But
you know.
contrary to like most of the not very good skill cards, I have seen these cards before.
yeah, it's you know, I think
Quite
people are
frequently.
allured by the fact that it's a grab. So that's something. It's got combo use. It combos off dash A.
And I got grabbed by it like all the time.
Oh,
Like
really?
every time.
I think if
Yeah.
you start to expect it and you react with a 4A, you'll do well. The thing is, if you react with a jump, you don't get that same protection with other throws. It can actually hit you during pre-jump, which is rare. So I feel like you might as well
I
go
have
for
a-
the perk.
I have like a new take with a Diamond Dust, Eternal Frog, and that.
Oh, I think... Oh, I'm not sure if there's protection on Wake Up, but I feel like this would be guaranteed on Diamond Dust. On paper, anyway.
I think that because you jump, you would hold jump on Wake Up, right? It would just make you invulnerable to
No, this
that.
doesn't have that. It's unblockable, it's not a grab. Because they
Oh.
can be hit during pre-jump, I tested it.
Oh, okay.
So maybe
So-
there's
It's like
something
a
there.
Remy bite, isn't it?
No, Remy
So it
Bite
has
is
like-
different. Yeah, Remy Bite, if you press up, you'll avoid it immediately. But this one's a
Alright.
bit different. It can hit airborne opponents too, so maybe on Diamond Dust it is guaranteed.
Does it do good damage like mailing 6 to 3?
No, it does decent damage at higher levels actually. But anyway, it's unlike Marion 63, it's got very limited uses outside of that. I don't know, it might be... It's probably better than Ignis, that blue fire actually. I'm gonna move it up, just because as long as you're point blank, it might work. And I'd say it's much worse than the other two twos, but I'd say in Diamond Dust, if that use works, it would be pretty nice. So that's what I'm gonna do. Also, apparently you can do a funny cross-up with it after you land it for your Oki. I saw that in the
Oh,
combo movie.
like a hard land?
No, I think because Suika like bounces after she slams it to the ground. It's hard to tell which side she lands at you apparently.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so yeah, that's that.
Can she
So
grab
that's-
from behind?
Yeah, it's all around her.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe it's alright. I'd still say it fits the has minimal uses description. So I'm gonna put it there. Who knows? Maybe there's some potential there. So
Oh,
yeah,
they
that's
Diamond Dust.
yeah, Diamond Dust. Maybe. We'll have to see. Someone use it in a match. You wanna see it? All right. So that's it. That's all the Suika cards. So going back to the spells, we had here's our spell list. A lot of decent cards, and here's our skills. A lot of pretty even spread actually, with Fire Oni and Atlas being at the top of each respective one. Okay. I think we'll call it here. Thanks everyone for joining in. Let us know if there's any other character you want us to do next time. We'll see if we're free on a Saturday, we'll try to do this when we get the chance. Anyone in OCE, make sure to sign up for ladder. We need more entrants.
Yeah, Clem, maybe we can poll on the channel for people to vote which character they'd like to have next on stream.
Yeah, we could do that.
Might be good.
Okay.
Let's do Reimu next.
Reimu, we've done Reimu.
We've done Rain already.
Alright.
You're welcome.
Well, yep, make sure to sign up for ladder if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll see you in the next stream on a Saturday.
Keiki is testing Oku.
Okay, yeah, we can do Oku. Keiki, we'd be happy to have you on a guest commentary if you want. Alright, sounds good. In that case, thanks guys. That was a good session.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's funny that none of us really knew much about Suika, but
Yeah, so we'll just tell everyone to just take these tier lists with a grain of salt. Maybe.
yeah.
I know more
Yeah,
about
it's
7.5 Suika
And
than
then
12.3.
12.3 Suika, that's funny. Alright, well anyway, we'll finish up here. Thanks everyone, and see you in the next dream, as Touhou Games say.
Good
Nice.
night,
See you
everyone.
later.
See you.
Yeah.